All right, we're recording. If you want to kick us off whenever you want.
Is it morning, afternoon, night? Does
It
it
is.
matter?
Doesn't
Because your
matter.
Philadelphia Eagles, Colin, are in the Super Bowl, baby. What's going on, Samboners? And welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of the Samboner Show. It's January 31st, the last day of Wing Month 2023. I'm your host, Samboner Mick, as always, alongside our good friend, Mr. Colin Thompson. What's up, Colin?
Well, lots to talk about. First thing, it's not our Philadelphia Eagles. Sorry, Eagles
Come
fans
on,
out
dude. Will
there.
you get on board already?
I am all in on everything that has to do with the Philadelphia. I'll be honest with you, but I was not born and raised an Eagles fan. I'm trying to be transparent. I wasn't. My dad's dad. They couldn't get the Eagles game at the house. It was a whole thing. So they watched like the Purple People Eaters and like they, so he like always talks about that. And then my mom's best friend from high school. She went to Penn Ridge, Upper Bucks County. And her last name was Leahy, and this guy's last name was Lewis. And Tim Lewis went on to play for Pitt, and then he went on to play for University of Pittsburgh, was an All-American, first-round draft pick of Green Bay Packers, and then put his head down on Monday Night Football, the only game she watched him play in pros in Green Bay. And then they said, hey, listen, if you do that again, you're going to have a spinal injury that's really severe, and your career will be over. So Tim retired that day, moved up to coaching ranks, coached for the Steelers for a decade, Giants for 5 years. So we were at those games as a kid, like watching Tim and meeting the players, and like had a huge influence on my career professionally. I was with Jerome Bettis and Cordell Stewart at a Dave and Buster's for like 4 hours after a game one day with my family and Tim. And like, I'll never forget that. And then after Giants games, they used to have a bubble next to the stadium, and they'd have like all these games for kids to play. And it was like a place for the players to go after the games with their families and let the traffic leave. And that was all you can eat buffet. And it was like this huge indoor stadium. So I know I'm being long here, but that's kind of why I'm like a disjointed fan. I went to the Giants Super Bowl because my mom wanted me to see what it's like, because I always want to play in the NFL. Like, you need to have this goal. You need to see things that resemble those goals. So it's a long-winded way to say that I'm a huge Eagles supporter because, first off, it's where I'm from, but I'm a diehard Flyers, Phillies, Sixers fan. But I'm an Eagles supporter because it was huge for family, friends, excitement, the community. We're going to get into that. My mom's in retail in the area with 20 boutique stores from Cape May to Princeton to Peddler's Village, Lahaska, New Hope area. So like when the Eagles win, when the Phillies are winning, it's crazy in her stores. So we're supporters. And then obviously with me playing and bouncing around, it's been funky, but obviously a huge Birds fan from afar and from a supporter perspective, but not a diehard. I'm not wearing it on my sleeve. I'm just being honest, Mick.
True fact about me, Colin. I grew up running around with a Dan Marino jersey on.
There you go.
I was
Yeah.
a gigantic Miami Dolphins fan. And Dan Marino was my idol, Mark Clayton, Duper. I just loved everything about the Miami Dolphins growing up as a kid. But yeah, man, thanks for the story. It's a shame, right? This has been a struggle, Samboners, right? I'm hanging out with this guy, Colin. He's not a huge Eagles fan. Here we are in the Super Bowl, and he's talking about, what's the guy? Jason Witten from the Dallas Cowboys on one of his shows. It's a challenging conversation, but we're making the best of it. Glad
I've had
everybody's.
family say if I play for Dallas, like, you're
What's
done.
that?
Dallas, when you're coming out for the draft, and I knew I'd probably be undrafted, but we started fielding these phone calls before. My agent's like, I don't know, you could go late round pick. So I'm like, okay, like, we'll see how it goes. But Dallas called. They were one of like the 25 teams. They all call, and they just call and just get your number. It's nothing crazy. It's like the lowest man on the staff, right? They're calling you, hey, can I get your game day, your draft day number? I'm like, oh, these teams are calling. Like, you think it's not that big of a deal. So Dallas called. I gave my number, my home address. That's it. Like, everybody.
82? When you say number 82?
No, like not number, like your phone number, your draft day number.
Your phone number.
Yeah. But Witten, I was on my show, and we were doing some, material for the, Super Bowl run here. And Jack's like, who's your favorite tight end of all time? It's Jason Witten. I mean, even Eagles fans watch those games and we're like, yo, I hate this guy because he's a Cowboy, but man, I'd love to have him on my team. Like, how do you hate that dude? He was a stud. So like when his helmet came off against the Eagles, I'll never forget that. So long story short, I'm a Selleck fan, die hard. Like, he was a stud. He was an underrated tight end in the league for a really long time.
Brad Selleck.
Dog, just a beast. He like went from a guy who didn't want to block, became a little bit of a blocker.
There's only one Dallas in the Super Bowl, and that's Dallas Goddard. Philly Goddard, baby.
Yeah, so what a great game. I mean, there's so much to digest, and everything that I digest is the original Fudge Kitchen, man. That's the best. the best of the best fudge, sweet, creamy, and it ships across the country. Or those listening in the Northeast, you just bang down the Jersey Shore. They're open year round, folks. Not like you Shoobies to just go down there Memorial Day to Labor Day. They're down there
Down
year
there.
round, killing it, slinging it, making it fresh right on site, literally right on site. You see the guys in the window, the original Fudge Kitchen, fudgekitchens.com, shipping fudge and sweet treats across the country, even to you in Arizona. Mick, you know some people going out to the game, don't you? Big crowd.
Well, no, I just caught wind of a big trip that's being hosted by the Philly Sports Trip guys, and was very interesting to hear what that package entailed. Just heard from some other guys internally about some other ways to get out there. It's dude, it sounds like a ton of fun, but I don't know, man. Some of these ticket prices that I'm hearing 6,000, 10,000 all in. Yeah, hotel, flight, ticket, and then there's the big golf tournament going on out there. I don't know. $10,000 is tough to justify, but I will say I did not go in 2017, so I am chomping at the bit to get there in 2023 here. But unfortunately, that doesn't look very promising.
It's a lot with the Waste Management Open too. That's one of the biggest golf tournaments of the year,
Oh,
especially
it's
when it comes
awesome.
to partying and a good time. It may be the premier golf tournament of the year. Everybody talks about.
Dude, and it's like one of the best to watch on television too, especially when those guys get up to the 17th hole and people are just slugging beers and hooting and
Their
hollering.
Sunday ratings are getting crushed. I
I don't
mean,
know if actually, I think the tournament, I'm not sure if they're running that into Sunday. I don't know if they're going to conflict with Super Bowl
let's
Sunday.
see,
So it
Super
might be like
Bowl.
a Wednesday to Saturday type of schedule.
Okay,
I'm
well,
not
hey,
sure.
I would be very smart. I wouldn't touch it. Yeah, lots to unpack. But I'll say this. I mean, before we get into the Eagles, um, I think we got to talk about kind of selfishly my big 5 hours in Philly and on Friday and what went down cheesesteak wise. What are your thoughts, Mick? I mean,
No,
I
dude.
think
I mean, look, it's funny. I think there was a couple comments on Facebook. If you're following us on Facebook, like for anybody, and we'll get into John. I love how you did John's first, and then you went to Angelo's second. But if there's anybody out there that doesn't think Angelo's Pizzeria is the best cheesesteak or best sandwich on this planet, I want to talk to you. I want to have that conversation. I want to learn a little bit more about what's going through your head because 99, if I pulled 100 people, 99 out of 100 people are going to say that is the elite best cheesesteak in the, like, again, in Philadelphia, but like there's nobody outside of Philadelphia that can even come close to that. So it is the
it's the
best in the
best
world.
sandwich in the world.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not even the best cheesesteak. It's my opinion, the best sandwich I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, no, it's unbelievable, dude. There's that bread, nobody can touch that bread. Right. I mean, look, you can get all the fine meats, the ribeyes, the Cooper sharp cheeses, and the onions and whatnot, but it's that bread that brings it all together. Now, that said, your leg one was John's roast pork. I've been to John's roast pork probably a half a dozen times. Shout out to Drew and Mike. They call it the Pork Shack, which is a very unique nickname. Every time I go to John's roast pork, that cheesesteak that I get is identical. It's the same cheesesteak every single time. So the consistency factor, they leverage a company called Karangi Bakery, which is a phenomenal bakery right there in South Philadelphia. I think their rolls are some of the best in the business in terms of Lisios and Amoroso and so forth. So you went to the gold 1-2 standard right there. You knocked it out of the park, dude. And the fact that you were able to kind of set the palate at John's and say, there's no fucking way something's better than this. And then go to Angelo's and was proven wrong because, again, it is. You nailed it, dude. 1-2, bang. Now, the question is, who's 3?
Well, I'm not there yet, but I'm going to back it up and go here. So I went to Temple to speak to the football team, which was extremely humbling. They asked me to do that. It was a really cool experience. And then I was took the train from, Baltimore area, went up, came back all in one day. And I was out with some like Temple booster people and some of my friends that are, kind of in charge of that stuff. And like, hey, let's go get a cheesesteak. Let's go get a bite. You want to do your Samboner video? Because people see this now, right? They have to,
Yeah,
they don't
man.
know. They're like, hey, you want to go do Sambone something? I'm like, absolutely. And I had the idea in the back of my head, but I wasn't going to force it upon these guys that they wouldn't have a meeting or anything. But they're like, dude, let's go get a cheesesteak. I'm like, perfect. They're like, what do you think about John's roast pork? I'm like, it's always
No.
top 3 on people's lists, if not number 2, number 1 to some. I'm like, great, we're gonna go here. Shout out to the guy too on the cheesesteak gurus you posted on that page, the video, saying that I'm screwed up taste buds. Some people aren't meant to taste food. Some people,
That's what I'm
some,
talking about.
like I was like, wait, what, dude? Are you kidding me? You see me? Like I literally, you see these love handles, bud? I earned them. Like I earned them, and I've eaten my way through this whole country from plain, and then also my wife's from Houston and Cajun. Like, so I don't want to hear it. Second off, I'm like, great, let's go to John's Roast Pork. So we pull up to John's Roast Pork. It's the pork shack. It's small. It's cool. I've never been, really never been to both. I know about it, right? But never been. So I pull up, awesome place. They're great. Hospitable, love the environment. Perfect day. Bam. Go outside, slam that down. Ridiculously good. The bread, everything, tremendous. I was blown away. It was number one on my list again because I'm working my way to figure out my list here. Everybody
Yeah,
says
man.
this is the best I ever had.
You call
And
me a Shuby, I'm calling you a rookie.
that's fine. Call me what you want, but I'm definitely no cheesesteak rookie again. Let me refer back to my love handles.
Nah.
So
You're
yeah,
a Samboner.
yeah. So my point is, I get there and it's ridiculously great. It's number one, and everyone will find their number one as they go through. Until you go to Angelo's and it resets your palate. Shout out to Albert in South Philly. He said that it resets his palate every time because that I'm thinking that's a 9. I said 9.7 at the time. John's Roast Pork, it's a 10. I went to Angelo's. That is the new standard, in my opinion, for cheesesteaks for everyone across the world.
Both, but let's not, spade to spade. Both are on bus one, right?
Yeah, well, I can't do anything new here. The Samboner is like this all-inclusive group where I can't do this.
Everybody get on the bus.
Everybody do this, do that. Bus one, franchise quarterback. That's a franchise quarterback, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to go back to my ways.
You Sambone 2 franchise quarterbacks, my friend.
No, I didn't. I did not because one was Tom Brady and then one was.
Oh, come on. If they're both in the 9s, give me a break.
No, I'm not doing the whole both in the 9s thing anymore because to me, the 9s are like, well, it's really good. No. Angelo's in South Philly is a 10. Hear me out. And honestly, I recalibrate. John's Roast Pork is a 9.6.
Yeah, so therefore they're both in the top 10.
I hear you. But my point is,
They're both on bus one, dude.
No, we're all over the bus one thing. Angelo's is one. Angelo's is bus one, and there's Angelo's, 10. And then there's literally 4 spots open, and then you start there. So I'm not doing the whole like 9.9, 9.8.
And that's I'll give you that. I think there's definitely room for opportunity because there's
the gap.
Like Lilo's and Cafe Carmela.
What was the one I told you I really liked? It just was that day, made of great bread. It was unbelievable, and I really never heard of it before. What was the place? Guido's, man.
Guido's in Ben Salem. Dude, there's another guy up in Pottstown right now called Gazzo's. It's a truck. People that go there say it might be the best cheesesteak I've ever had in my life.
I believe that. I do. I don't roll my eyes at any of that stuff. You do. If you never heard of it, Mick wants nothing to do with it. But my point is, you got to go to Angelo's, guys. It sets the palate, and that's number one. And then everything else falls in behind it. So it was an unbelievable experience. There's nothing like going to South Philly, too. The air, the people, the community. It's hustling. It's bustling. There's a line outside of Angelo's. Angelo's got like 30 people working in there in that little kitchen. They're working. They're grating the cheese fresh on the pizzas. They're putting the basil on everything. Like, I was just so impressed.
Yeah.
They're so nice. They're so hospitable. John's Roast Pork was the same thing. Like, people take it for granted up here. People say the Northeast, people are grumpy and all that. No, that was really cool to be able to go up on the train. I had this steaming hot pizza. I got to go from Angelo's.
You got the pizza? I've actually never had the pizza, believe it or not.
I've been eating it the last 4 days. Like, I'm a mess. I'm supposed to like get healthy before we go on a trip. I literally am walking through 30th Street Station and putting it on the train. I have it sitting next to me so no one can sit next to me. I have the box. People are walking by me like, dude, where'd you get that pizza from? Is it that good? You're bringing it on the train? I'm like, I'm a Samboner.
That's a brand right there.
Man. I'm a Samboner. So
no, dude, I love that. And if we could just like make one little quick segue out of that, like, Samboning is a ton of fun, right? You got to try it. You got to give everybody the experience. We love seeing Samboner debuts. We love seeing new personalities and what type of character you're bringing to the table. But like, look, we're off to a flipping hot start here in January or 2023. And we kicked us Samboners, Samboning sandwiches, kicked off the year doing Wing Month. Colin, it's amazing like what this product can do to people. Like the amount of people that have come out of the woodwork to Sambone wings versus sandwiches. is astonishing. And, like some of these, like every weekend this month is like a complete Samboner fest. People are just popping in videos and sending me Sambones. Somebody was down at the link on Sunday tailgating, and they were like, their tailgate, the focus was all about wings, Samboner wings. Take a look, take a bite. I'm just smiling ear to ear. Like, this is fucking awesome, man. So big thanks to Samboner Nation. Pedal to the metal, like I always say. It's a ton of fun. It ain't easy, but it's necessary. And it's just, it's awesome to see. Wing Month has been a ton of fun. And look, Colin's going to bust my balls here. There is no rules. And the fact that it is ending today doesn't mean we can't stop Samboner and wings. I mean, look, we got 2 more weeks of football. Continue to get your wing game on. We are going to turn the page from a calendar standpoint, but I'm just floored. Like, I think the one day I call like 11, like, holy shit, man, people love wings. I mean, you got to love wings, but it's just.
You have to, man. No, I'm not going to rip you for it. I love it, man. I think we'll rate the months at the end of the year because that's what we do for fun.
It's a good idea.
It will definitely be up there for me because you can get a wing anywhere you go. That's really, really good across the country. You can't get a cheesesteak or a hoagie or a bagel or whatever everywhere you go, or pizza, but you can go anywhere and crush some wings. And it could be a barbecue place in Vermont. It could be an Italian joint in Georgia.
Yeah, like I said, like Fried Uns, he struggles when it's like cheesesteak month or cutlet month because he's in South Carolina, but he just had the home team barbecue guys open up another location just outside of his development, and finally you see Fried Uns doing some Samboner with the fam, and dude, like any barbecue joint like can sling some of the greatest wings. When I was down there, he took us to this swine barbecue. I want to say they had like a peanut butter and jelly wing, Colin. I'm like, this is outrageous, man, what you can do with wings versus sandwiches.
Yeah. And I think, like you said, it's the bread, it's the ways you're smoking, frying, grilling, baking. Like I've said before, like, oh, we have the Traeger. I have people over. I think we had those frozen wings. Boom. Put the salt, pepper, garlic on them, throw them in the smoker for an hour, and then open it up. And you're like, oh, here we go. So,
okay, yeah, look, food is life, right? But what Samboner is all about is the camaraderie. Right. So when I see people in the parking lot tailgating and just, bringing friends together to take a look, take a bite, that's what it's all about, what I'm a little nervous about next month. I don't know, we probably shouldn't announce it on this show.
Well, we could do it. Let's get to it because it's breakfast month next month, Mick.
Absolutely.
And I want to hear your thoughts on it because it's my favorite meal of the day. I'll be honest. All the meals are my favorite meals of the day, but I love getting up for breakfast, cup of coffee, pancakes, eggs, the whole nine, sitting down at the counter.
But how do we continue to shake it up? Actually, this would only be the second time we did a breakfast month. And I told you before, we did a contest in the first season of breakfast month. Like, it took me like 7-8 days to get into the month and realize, like, all right, let's be honest, right? The best breakfast sandwich is coming right from your fucking house. It's the one that you're making, that homemade sandwich. Although there is some really awesome places out there, but like maybe we start Samboning some diners, right? Like some classic old school diners that have like the Fairlane Diner, what's the diner over here in Glenside? I forget the name.
Every town though
Village
has
Diner.
their breakfast spot. Right.
Yes.
Like, or a couple of them all over.
But like a breakfast sandwich is a breakfast sandwich. It's tough to like really perfect a breakfast sandwich. And I'm not going to get into this whole pork roll, egg and cheese debate because I see like there's perfectionists out there that want to, show us some of the best pork roll, egg and cheeses. But in my opinion, do they all look the same?
Well, to me, I think it's all about, again, the bread. So, and to me, for those listening, and the way I interpret breakfast month, it's not breakfast sandwiches. It's anything you want it to be in the breakfast platter, burritos, tacos, bacon, eggs, like whatever you're feeling. Like if you got this peppered bacon and you're like, yo, I want to Sambone this, it's freaking Sambone it. There's no rules. Like for me, like I'm going away for 2 weeks here and going like a kind of a mini vacation, a little work vacation. And I'm going to be going to breakfast a lot. And I'm going to be Samboning the omelet with everything. So it doesn't just have to be a sandwich too. Now the sandwich, we are the Samboners, of course. So
yeah. I think it's also a great opportunity to kind of cut back, right? So we're going back-to-back months where we don't really necessarily need the long roll, although, you achieved your cheesesteak quota, so I commend you on that. But, like waking up, grabbing a cup of coffee, maybe do a late breakfast, like a 10:30, 11 breakfast, and then dinner at 6:30 and call it a day. 2 meals a day. Maybe I'll cut back 5 or 6 pounds. Who knows?
Yeah, well, I go 2 meals a day. That's the big debate too. Is like, folks, with this breakfast month, please rip it up with the pancakes, the French toast, and the waffle. Like, we need to see, we need to find where those places are. That is big time work because
They're out
I'm
there.
someone who, on my off day, which is one day, we have a half day off day kind of in the league, and you're like, okay, what am I doing? I need to get away a little bit. I need to find the best waffle. I need to find the best, French toast or pancakes or whatever. So get out there and send them in. We got to find them. Whether it's the diner at the Jersey Shore, you're right behind. It's a griddle at your house on the Blackstone, or hey, you're on vacation and there's that infamous place. What's the place in Clearwater, Mick? Breakfast place right next to the stadium.
Lenny's.
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 Yeah, really good.
Shout out Lenny's, dude. One of the greatest diners of all time. If you ever been to Clearwater and go watch a Phillies game, it's literally right across the street from what's it called now, like Bright House Field or whatever. It changes names all the time, but like the experience, and people are in Lenny's waiting for their table, scalping tickets. Who needs tickets? Who needs tickets? And it's just like a big group of crazy Phillies fans wanting to get after it, hanging out. The experience at Lenny's is like no other, man.
Yeah, I'm excited for breakfast. Like I said, it's my favorite meal of the day because it's the first meal of the day. The next meal is my favorite meal. So, yeah, lots to look forward to with breakfast month. Mick, I think we need to kick it over about this game this weekend that just passed. Obviously, for those that weren't watching, the Eagles had made a huge run. I'm not going to bring that up because everybody listens and watches. I'll digress. First, your Kansas City Chiefs and Andy Reid moved on. Last minute heroics.
Yeah.
Beat a really good Bengals team. Big kick by Buckner, the penalty, the whole nine. But to me, there was way before that too. Everybody looks at the penalty, but the kickoff team let the kickoff go all the way out to the 45. That shouldn't happen.
Yep.
That penalty should take them somewhere around the 50.
Big turnover prior to that.
Yeah, there's always
like Burrows and Hurts didn't even play that well. Like they were like the two guys that I wanted to like really hone in on for the weekend. And I don't think either of them played that well. The Eagles game got off to a wicked slow start.
But let's transition though, and that's where I'm at though. That was what happened in that game. Kansas City's moving on. Great stuff with it. Andy Reid, really good teams in the AFC. The AFC before the year looked like the best side, and it was probably the majority of the year. But back to the NFC now, the two best teams faced off, and it was a heck of a game. Mickey, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, it was again, like I said, it got off to a pretty slow start. But it didn't take long. Like it was almost like the Eagles-Giants game, right? It didn't take long for like some sort of just switch to go off. And I think that tone setter was Reddick, right? Coming off the end and making that sack. And it originally was an incomplete pass, but it turned out to be a fumble. Like as soon as that happened, like I just realized like, dude, this team is faster, stronger, better, and they're going to blow the doors off them. You can almost just see it happen. And again, here we are in the third quarter. Like I'm looking at my buddy Matt, like, dude, this is done. We won this game already. Like this team is just, they're better than what I think. And I know they're great, but like every week in, week out, they just continue to amaze me. And they just, the veteran leadership again, like that hit that Sue laid on the backup quarterback was like, I started to feel bad for the Niners. Honestly, I started to feel bad because they were just getting crushed.
I think that's a common thought, Mickey, around because everybody wanted a better game. And I think you feel bad because it's like, hey man, like that you respect that organization. I think people respect what they got and respect their coaches, John Lynch, people respect him as a player. They respect, and people are fans of a lot of those players. C-Mac Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Trent Williams, like Bosa, like everybody understands that. I think it's mutual between the two places. It's not really a rivalry per se. So to see that not live up to whatever it was supposed to be is what it is, but that's football. That's why you play the game. And the Eagles forced those things to happen. Like that wasn't like, non-contact, somebody pops, God forbid, an ACL or, they pull a quad. It's like, no, like the Eagles, Hassan and like Sue and the coverage and all the different things that make football great.
Defense is just ridiculously good, man.
And offense is pretty freaking darn good.
It's good too. I mean, Hurts had a down game and it was just a little sloppy. The play calling for me was a little sloppy from the very beginning. But again, Reddick set the tone.
That's the best defense in the NFL there.
Probably. It is, dude.
They're
It
playing one of
is.
the best defenses in the league. Now,
I'm
Eagles are up
like, I'm
there
not,
too.
I hate, I'm a little nervous. Like, I think that like the spread came out and the public consensus jumped all over the Eagles. Like KC seems a little bit more battered and bruised than the Eagles do. Now, granted, we have 2 weeks to heal up, and I'm sure Mahomes will be somewhat, 85, 90% by the time the game goes on. But like, I just don't see how they can manufacture any type of drive or produce that many points to beat that team. I mean, not Jason Kelsey, his brother is just unbelievable. And like,
Travis.
I think Travis, he's your X factor, right? We can shut him down. We can shut Mahomes down. I think you might see another 31-7 game. Like, it might be a boring Super Bowl. We're that good. No, I'm just kidding.
Good Mick. Hell, I get him. He's going to be texting me. What do you think? How do you think it's going to go? It's up and down. Who knows? It's a long 2
Yeah,
weeks here. It's really long 2 weeks of TV and
no, it is
entertainment without football. It's good stuff, though, man. It's going to be
awesome,
fun.
man. It's the best time of the
Any good
year.
videos? Did you get any funny videos? I know you got guys and gals grilling out, but any funny videos that you enjoyed from everyone just taunting?
Nothing comes out at me, and that's a good point though. Like, I love seeing the funny, like creative videos. Like, you don't have to take it so serious, right? Like, do something creative, do something fun. But I love just the camaraderie of it all. Like this guy, John Loves Food out of Scranton, PA. He sent me 2 reviews of the same place. One with a North Carolina hat on, and then he's like, "Oh shit, I forgot to put my Birds hat on." So he sent me another review with his Birds hat on, and then fast forward a couple weeks later, he's the same guy in the Eagles parking lot, stewing up some wings and getting all his buddies into it, high fiving, bumping, doing Eagles chants, and that's just like that's what it's all about, man. It's what it's all about.
It really is what it's all about, having fun, letting it rip, and then making your own version of it. Like, I had some people ask me, like, "What do you do with these videos? Like, how do I do it?" I'm like, "Put the camera down, grip it and rip it." Shout out to Johnny Mags. Came on the show, said he was going to do it. Um, and Christ, he did it, man. He's sitting there having a couple beers. He's down there, I think, in the Texas area, scouting a couple players.
Sambo and some meatballs, dude.
He's just I love the guy. I mean, I've loved him in college. He is just an absolute character. And he's like I said, right when I talked to you, I said, this is a guy that Philly would love to have in Colletone, but it's not. He's a Bostonian, and that's okay. He's just rips it up.
The Samboner bug is a real thing, man. Once you give it a shot, you want to do it again and again and again. And you might fall off here and there, but you'll be back. You'll be back.
No one likes a quitter.
Right.
So last week we had Sean Latham on the show, guys. $20 chef, absolute just hysterical. Me and Mick just chopping up, having a good time. Johnny Magliozzi was the week before, a buddy of mine from University of Florida. He pitched for the Mets organization, played with Tim Tebow. He's got great stories. A Bostonian, New York Mets scout. We've had Grill Guy on. We had a big Christmas show. Kyle Pagan from Crossing Broad came on. We were live from McGurk's. That those haven't seen that. Tony Luke Jr., one of our biggest episodes. Tony Luke was awesome. He's Samboning too, down in Atlanta, having a great time. And then one of our biggest episodes, if not the biggest, is our cheesesteaks in Philly in the suburbs. Just kind of an informative piece of just like, hey, where do you like to go? What do you like to do? South Philly, Bucks County, around Temple, the Jersey Shore. Like, we just touched on all the different places, and then places from near and far. So expect more of those coming up, guys, with like breakfast and with all the different things we're doing. Like every once a month, we're going to do one of those shows and highlight different parts of the areas that we Sambone, whether it's Sea Isle in Jersey or Clearwater down in Tampa. So that's kind of our episodes. We appreciate everybody that have been dialing into them, Mick. It's been fun so far. I know you've been having a blast.
It's been great, man.
Yeah, 30-minute episodes, chopping up, having a good time. And then, again, guys, continue to send in the videos. Mick's going to put them up. You know that. We're labeling the episodes now, so it's easy for you guys to go back. And, I mean, the videos on the Samboner.
Wing Month is challenging, though, because it's awesome, though, because it gets you in and out of different bars throughout, like different pockets, yeah. Bucks, Monco, the city, Port Richmond. And it gives you that like another perspective. Like, I'd rather spend an hour sitting at this bar than going into a steak shop and just, popping in a Sambone outside. There's nothing like just having a cold beer and eating a dozen wings and just, shooting the shit with the bartender or catching up on some Sports Center. But, you gotta continue to move on. And that's the beauty of Samboners is that we have come up with 12 separate months. But what do you say?
What's the bar of the week for you this week, buddy?
Yeah, new segment for the Samboner show. Stealing it a little off of this Colin Thompson guy. My bar of the week.
It's not a steal. It's more just a collaboration. We're all doing it.
It's great, man. I love it. The bar. So, this would be an awesome segment for my brother Joe, Samboner Joe, who spends, I want to say 50% of his week. No, I'm just kidding. The guy just loves, he's the biggest fan of going out to lunch
Me
and
too.
trying different bars and just getting a beer and getting a sandwich and just, his hometown bar is the Berwyn Tavern or that Casey's Place. But my bar of the week, and I want to bring this up because I think people kind of misunderstood where I was going with this review. And I got a lot of rap for it, if that's even a freaking word. But so Burns's Tavern in Port Richmond is my bar of the week. Awesome little corner spot, Irish pub. It probably, the way it looks now, probably looked the same in 1970, 1980. Nothing has changed. I mean, you got 85-year-olds in there, Sambone and wings, and you got guys like myself sitting, posting up at the bar, Sambone and wings, yucking it with this dude. The bartender was a sweetheart, but just like the nostalgia of that old, just, I don't know, beaten hole in the wall, really, just a hole in the wall off the corner, right off of 95, and you could just melt in there, Colin. So like ice cold beer. What do you want to rank them? The beer 1 through 5.
I go beer. If it's in ice, I give it a 5 out of 5. We go 4 categories, 5 out of 5. So first, how's the beer?
I give the beer 4 out of 5.
Okay.
It was ice cold.
And then how's the service?
The service was phenomenal. I give the service a 5.
Okay.
It was great. Dude, I ordered the wings and they came out in like a minute.
How's the food and the overall ambiance?
So the overall ambiance is amazing. It's exactly where you could just, park your fat ass for a couple hours, hang out, have a few, catch up with some friends. And here's where I got torn, right? So back in season 1 of Wing Month, everybody started like coming at me. Where's Burns? Where's Burns? Like I sent out the top 10 list. Where's Burns? Where's Burns? I'm like, oh, dude, Burns was awesome. But I don't know. I just think they were kind of more like middle of the road, like 8.4, 8.5. Like I didn't think that they were like knock your socks off. Now, granted, you go on all these websites and you look for like top wings in Philadelphia. Burns does come up. Burns does come up. And look, it can be subjective, but at the same time, like I took the ammo of like, look, I'm here again. This place is awesome. The wings are delicious, but they're not top 10. Like, is that too hard to understand? And I think they just kind of got that out of context. But at the same time, they're really good. They are unique. They could be a little bit crispier, in my opinion. But overall, dude, just an unbelievable bar that like I would just love to continue to go like once a month and hang out.
TVs for what are they?
I don't even really remember. I was just having like a really nice
I
conversation
usually
with the
throw
bar.
them, if I don't remember that, that's a great point. I usually just throw them a 4 out of 5 because you know what, the bar's that great anyways, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah. I mean, as long as you're in good company and you're having some good conversations, that's all that matters.
Good stuff. Mickey's first bar of the week, man. Yeah, it's good stuff, man.
I got like a couple more I want to talk about, but hey,
One a
we'll
week.
save it.
Yeah, save it.
We'll
And
save
listen,
it.
folks, what we're doing and what I really was doing, the OG bar of the week guy, is just Sambone and bars. That's all it is. So if you want to Sambone a bar, you can Sambone it. You can Sambone the wings and then turn around or the cheesesteak and say, I'm going to Sambone this bar too. So it's good stuff. Anything else, Mickey? We moving it down the line. We'll see everybody next week for the big Super Bowl episode.
That's right. That's right. Enjoy the next 2 weeks. That's tough, man. We got to, it's tough to sit around for 2 weeks and wait for the big game.
It's kind of good, though. You get healthy for a couple days.
Yeah.
Maybe give it hell next weekend a little bit, get healthy a little bit, and then boom, you got to start on Thursday next week, right? And then enjoy it through Sunday. And then,
yeah. Dude, I went skiing over the weekend, man. I'm battered. I'm bruised.
you hurt a little bit.
Not cut out for that.
How's the liver feeling there, Mickey?
Liver's hurting a little bit. We got backups, though.
On that note, are we out of here, Mick, or what?
Yeah, man. Let's call it a day. It's a freaking shitty day here in Philadelphia.
But it's a beautiful day in Sambonerville.
It's always a beautiful day in the Samboner hood.
Samboner out.
Samboner out, everybody.